eyes and your vision are under attack. Damaging blue light from the sun, your phone, your computer, your tablet, even light bulbs and car headlights is constantly bombarding you. The good news is our eyes actually already have a line of defense to counter the effects of blue light. This defense is made up of 3 pigments called carotenoids. MacuHealth with Micromicelle, the only supplement with the exclusive patent on all 3 macular carotenoids and Micromicelle technology.
Do your patients know what presbyopia is?
There are people who are afraid of the press.
Have you talked to your patients about multifocal contact lenses?
I've heard the bifocal, but not multifocal.
Exactly, not multifocal.
Do you need help with your multifocal strategy? Learn more at the conclusion of this episode. With more screen usage and indoor time, myopia, also known as nearsightedness, is increasing and getting worse in children. Now, certified eye doctors can prescribe MySight One Day, the first and only FDA-approved soft contact lens to slow myopia progression in age-appropriate children. Visit CooperVision.com to find a Brilliant Futures certified eye doctor near you. Good morning, I'm Dr. Kerry Gelb, and welcome to Open Your Eyes Radio. Please listen as I discuss the newest information in the world of health, nutrition, and sports every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Central Time on AM 1280 The Patriot. Also, please share your thoughts by emailing me at drkerrygelb@gmail.com. That's drkerrygelb@gmail.com, and visit my website, drkerrygelb.com. Few things feel as amazing as a good belly laugh, especially laughs that cause tears streaming down your cheeks. Not only does laughter feel good, but laughter causes amazing health benefits. Research studies show laughter improves breathing, helps circulation, lowers stress, improves your immune system, improves pain threshold intolerances, and enhances mental functioning. Today's guest, Peru's own author, Carlos Sueldo. Carlos is a trained architect turned airport employee, so he could travel the world. Carlos speaks 7 languages and is the author of the hysterical book, and I mean hysterical book, called Airport Stories. Carlos, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much. May I speak now?
Yes, Carlos,
Yes.
tell us,
Okay.
why did you
Dr.
write
Perry.
the book? Why did you write the book?
I wrote the book because I working as an airline employee, and when you experience something that you would have never imagined, I said, wait a minute, something's happening here. I've been drawing caricatures since I was 5 years old. And when I started working at the airport, my co-workers would tell me, you must write a book. You have to write a book. After more than 20 years, I was always working and rushing. Once that I retired, I said, wait a minute, it's time to make the book, to write this book. I decided to take art lessons in Peru, or I was either in person in Lima, because I commute from Houston to Lima, or I would take and using my laptop classes online. And my teacher said, what is it that you want to do? I said, I just want to do art. Okay, so I said, I can start drawing, painting. And then I said to him, Akira is his name, Akira Chino. I owe him big time. He said to me, Carlos, what do you want to do? I said, I have so many stories from the airport. Do you think it's possible for me to write a book with caricatures? He said to me, if that's what you want, let's start working on it. And that's how we started.
So what did you do at the airport? What different jobs did you have?
Oh, I work in customer service. I work behind the counter. I work also as a gate agent, also in service in the service centers when flights are delayed or canceled. Also have some experience at reservations, but people come with the funniest stories you can imagine.
So let me ask you a question. Now, we can't give away what airline you work for, but people that come in late, give us a couple of stories about they close the door and you can't get out. You know, there's a, 10-minute or 15-minute, 20-minute. They close the airline, the door to the airplane, and you can't get on. But then there's people who start arguing. Tell us about some of those stories.
Oh, they would call me all kinds of names. Sometimes they come late, and some passengers are very responsible. They take responsibility and say, Carlos, I'm sorry I got here late. What can you do for me? So I'll do my best. Sometimes they will show up, I'll start cursing and call me names from F words to the end. And I understand they can curse, and I would say, okay, you're okay to vent, but I cannot continue a conversation or dignify a conversation for you cursing at me. They wouldn't, for example, I remember one time this pastor showed up going to Minneapolis. The flight was already closed and gone. I said, I have to make the flight. You cannot make this flight tonight. It was the last flight of the night. He called me all kinds of names. He needed to see his son. He asked me if I had children. I said, I have 5. At that time, I didn't have even 1 kid. I said, yes, I have 5. He said to me, okay, I hope the little one gets sick tonight. So that wasn't nice. And I said, yeah, I hope so too. No, maybe he drops dead. How about that? And he didn't know what to say because, I mean, I believe in respect. If you do respect me, of course I'll respect you. But if you do not respect me, I don't think you deserve any. And I'm sorry if I'm harsh or ugly on that, but that's how I feel. I mean, I understand customer service is service to people who need help, but some tolerance and respect and dignity is both needed. They're both needed.
How about people that come and they have these giant dogs and they say they're emotional support dogs?
Well, they come with a dog that looks like a hyena, and then emotional support. I have a coworker bitten by an emotional support dog, bitten, and it's a big problem. I'm not saying they don't have rabies, was probably healthy, but is that an emotional support, a vicious and ferocious animal? That's a joke. I know your wife is Mexican, and I do not want to offend any Mexicans, but I had close to Thanksgiving, I had this Mexican guy with a little piglet, right? Pig. He said it was his emotional support. And among the family members, they were laughing. And I was just saying, wait a minute, is that your emotional support, or you're bringing dinner for grandma at the other end, right? I mean, and he was laughing. Like, says, Carlos, you can't let us get by. I said, no. Do you have a letter from a psychiatrist or something that will support what you're telling me, that the pig is an emotional support animal? He couldn't. He left it.
So did he leave it for the people
with his
who
family members?
Oh, not for the people at the airport for lunch or something.
No, I would have eaten it, but no. It has happened before also. It has happened, lobster that cannot be taken alive. And then this Chinese lady one time brought a lot of lobsters, and they were not dead, they were alive. And she wanted to check them in a big container, but they were alive. And she had to eat them.
And what happens with the lobsters? Did you
allow?
Oh, the airport people ate them.
Yeah, because she left it. That was going to be trash. Somebody just took it home and cooked it.
And I heard about somebody wanting to bring an ostrich on the plane once. It might have not been with you guys, but as an emotional support.
Yeah. I've seen that. I think I saw it on TV I saw it.
And in your book, you had a story about it. Someone said a person was emotional support.
Oh, yes. This girl was going to Canada. I believe it was Toronto. So I knew her because you can read before you go to the gate, or as soon as you get there, if there's any special request, if there are any. So I knew there was an emotional support. I identified the passenger when I went, and it's in my book. When I went to speak to her, I said, oh, I have a question. I need to ask you something, a favor. Oh, I understand you have an emotional support. Oh, yes, that's what I want to talk to you about. And she says to me, I have a question. Do you think my boyfriend can go instead of the dog? I said, he can, yes, if he doesn't have a ticket. Oh, no, he doesn't have a ticket, but he really supports me. Okay, we're talking about an international flights. He has a passport. Okay. I was about to ask you, does he know how to bark at least? But I didn't. I was just like, wait a minute, wait a minute. You want me to let your boyfriend go instead of your emotional support dog? Yes. Okay, that's gonna be a no-no. Then she went and told him, I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen. And then he said, you tried, right? Yeah, I tried. Okay. That was the end of the story. But
You know,
all the stories on my book, they're all real.
they're all, I've sat next to somebody on a plane and they've had this huge dog, underneath their legs.
Right?
And then the passenger gets up, he starts walking up and down the aisles, and then the dog got up and started walking up and down the aisles. And they couldn't corral the dog. The flight attendants, they were trying to corral the dog. How often does things like that happen?
I would say often. Everything that happens on my book happens on a daily basis.
These are all real stories, and Carlos is our guest today. And if you want to go to his website, it's Sueldo, SCSUELDO, airportstories.com. If you want to buy his amazing, very funny book to help you laugh. So tell us another great story, Carlos.
Okay, this is another great story about pet in cabin. This I did not experience this, but my friend had a person next to her with a cat, pet in cabin. Okay, the cat needed to go to the bathroom. She didn't take the cat to the bathroom. The cat made poopy in the middle of the aisle, and she did not pick it up.
No, huh?
No, so that was not nice.
No,
That
and
wasn't nice.
the flight attendants, I guess, had to pick it up, huh?
Yeah, but that's not their job. I mean, she should be. Yes, I mean they had to clean it because you don't want other people stepping on it. But that was ridiculous. But if you go to the book and you can see all the real stories, like did you see the lady who showed me the passport?
Tell us about that. So I did. I read the whole book. It's
Okay, you read the whole book. That's a good thing. The lady came up to me, very distinguished, well-spoken, white lady, sounded professional. Okay, I was flying in business class. I said, hi, miss, how may I help you? Can you please check me in? Okay, that's fine. She was tall, high heels, kind of good shape. She hands me her passport. It was the first weeks I was working. I saw the passport was a man, no hair, with a beard, a little mark here, and the nose. I started shaking. I was like, what is this? And then she looked at me in the eye and she said to me, please do not embarrass me. This is who I am. And I say to myself, okay, do whatever you want, but at least provide a passport that reflects who you are. But of course, you're not supposed to tell anybody because they might feel offended, right? Or discriminated.
Right.
And then, okay, that's my brother.
Oh. Turn your camera off, brother. Turn your camera off.
Okay. Beto, okay, he's done. So I asked her for her passport. She shows me a passport with a man bigger than what she was, and no hair and with a beard. I asked my supervisor, I said, Carlos, can you at least recognize if this person is who she is? And I said, I think she is. So I just went quick back to her and I did apologize. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I mean, I checked her in and said, you have a safe travels or have a good trip. Thank you very much. And that was very.
And where was she going?
I believe it was Paris.
Okay, now coming back from Paris, is she going to be able to get away with that passport?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah,
now, what is that baggage claim? People losing luggage.
I had my friend Carmen working there once. I happened to be there because I didn't work in baggage that much. But one time I went to her and I said, oh, sir, yes, I do have your bag here. The passenger told her, do you think I'm an idiot? I know it's not my bag. Then she says, I'm not calling you an idiot, but can you please verify your name? And good enough. She had a name tag for him with his name and last name. He had his own written name tag. And he did take the bag. He didn't say, I'm sorry, I apologize, I was wrong. Yes, this is my bag. He just grabbed it and he started cursing and he left. So,
You know, yeah, I mean, people, when they go to the airport, they're, they want to be somewhere that sometimes they have to be to a wedding. They have to be somewhere that's so important. And I think the worst of people come out sometimes at the airport. I have a really interesting story that happened to me recently, and that I'll share with you. I was flying to West Palm Beach from Newark,
okay. Right.
and this kid comes on the plane,
Right.
and you could see that he was, he was under the influence of drugs,
Oh,
drugs,
yes.
alcohol, but probably under the influence of drugs. And his all his belongings were in a plastic bag, and he was in the seat not directly in front of me. There was an older woman sitting in front of me, must have been in her 70s, but she was in the middle seat. And then there was another person who was deaf, which I realized after, because I didn't see at the beginning, with a dog, with a dog, a protective dog for this person who was deaf. And this kid sat in the middle seat, and he was trying to put his belongings up at the top, but because he was on drugs, as he would put one piece of clothing in, another piece would drop out of the plastic bag, and he kept going like this. And then he's trying to shove everything up, and then when the flight attendant comes over, and they put it in a plastic bag and they get him settled, and I could see as we're going on the flight, he's fighting with the older lady in front of me.
Oh my God.
I thought I thought he was gonna hit her. I really thought
it happens. It happens.
And he was probably in his 20s, and I'm sitting watching this, and they came by with the food. And because I'm 1K, because I fly a lot, I get this free box of food. So I said to the flight attendant, give it to the kid, hoping that it'll calm him down, giving the kid. And that's all these magic markers and his phone, and he keeps dropping his magic markers, and he's laying on top of the older woman next to him, picking it up. He'd pick up one magic marker, another magic marker would drop, and he has all these pictures that, like at 10 years old, looks like old family pictures. And so I went back and I spoke to the flight attendant, and I said to the flight attendant, what's going on? Why did they allow this kid to get on? He's obviously under the influence. And they said, well, the marshals made us take him. So we didn't want him, but they, I'm not going to say the airline, but they dumped him on us. And we didn't want this kid. I said, let me switch with the older lady. I think I could calm him down. I already gave him the food. I have a connection with him. And so she goes to the older lady. She goes to the older lady. Across the aisle is her husband. And the older lady and this kid are fighting. And the older lady goes, I'm trying to rest, and the kid is saying, I'm just trying to be nice. And he's under the influence. So everybody else is invisible, really, except for him. So after talking to the flight attendant, she said, the gentleman, which is me, is willing to switch seats with you. So I go, and so the woman goes, well, this is my seat. I don't want to switch seats. So I said, well, I tried, I tried. I don't want to switch seats. I try to do my duty because, because I'm afraid this guy's going to hit her, and we're going to land in North Carolina. I'm not going to get to Newark. Yeah, they're not going to. I'm not going to get to Newark. So finally, something, I will switch with him. So I switched seats with the lady, and I'm sitting next to this kid, and he starts telling me he's on drugs, and he's got his drugs in his suitcase. Are they going to check his suitcase underneath, where they carry the suitcases? And so I try to distract him, and I look at the pictures. And I see the pictures, and I go, who is this? He goes, oh, that's my father. He committed suicide. I go, who's this? He goes, this is my brother. He committed suicide.
Oh no.
He goes, this is my mother. She has cancer. And he goes, I really need some heroin. I need my fix. And I'm talking to him and I'm telling him, listen, you can't worry about other people. You just got to think about yourself. He's telling me he's going to Pennsylvania once he lands in Newark to go into rehab. And I have him pretty calm. And I never saw them fly so fast back to Newark. Usually it could take up to 3 hours. Usually it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's just a little long story, but but this flight is taking like an hour and 45 minutes, and they're starting to descend. And he goes, I was in the military. I was a pilot. I love when we're landing. He jumps up over the girl next to him who's hearing impaired, opens the window, and with no regard for the girl next to him, and bangs into the couple in front of him.
Unbelievable.
And the guy sitting in front of the hearing impaired woman with the dog turns around and they start getting into a verbal altercation. And he says, I'm gonna beat you up. I'm gonna beat you up. We're gonna get into
It's a threat.
And it goes, and now it's like full war between the two of them. And I'm trying to calm them down. And I said, listen, whatever I said to him, calm down, whatever. And I said, you got to worry. I didn't say calm down because that just makes people worse. So I said to him, we got to worry about ourselves in these situations.
Exactly.
This is a very difficult situation. We're going to be on the ground in just a minute. Finally, thank God we land. I figure, okay. So right before we land, I forgot to tell you, one of the flight attendants comes up to me and says, I just want to thank you for what you're doing. We're going to give you either $75 or 6,000 free miles. What do you want? So I said, I'll take the 6,000.
I would say so too.
So I took the 6,000 miles. We're on the ground. Now this kid has to make a phone call and he can't think of the phone number, because they're supposed to pick him up from rehab. And he goes to me, can you call? I want to talk to my girlfriend. So he goes, the number is 561-777-512-976. I go, that's not a phone number. I go, what's can you, he's going like this, and he's trying to think of the phone number. He's trying to think of the phone number. And then finally he comes up with the phone number and I dial it for him. And he's making the phone call. He's talking to his girlfriend. And when we come back from the break, I'm going to finish the story and then I'm going to ask you to comment on it. We're talking to Carlos Sueldo. He wrote airport stories and he has a lot of crazy stories like the one I'm telling you. It's in cartoon book format and it's a great book. It's a lot of fun. We'll be right back.
MacuHealth, your science-born and tested solutions for visual performance, macular degeneration, and dry eye syndrome. New products coming soon. Embrace the science.
We're back with Carlos Sueldo, who wrote Airport Stories, an hysterical cartoon book about the crazy things that happen at the airport. And just to finish my story, so the kid finally thinks of the phone number. He calls and he's speaking to his girlfriend. And at this point, people are shuffling off the plane and he's clogging the aisle. And now people can't get off the plane because he's using my phone and we're trying to get off the plane. So finally we get off the plane and I did my duty. I'm out of here. I run, I go to the bathroom, I come out, and all these people from the airport on the airline come up to me and start thanking me. They go, oh, I just want to thank you for what you did. You handled it great. That was amazing. Are you a marshal? I go, no, I'm an eye doctor in New Jersey. I'm a podcaster. But I felt that I'm good with people. I felt I could get them under control. So how often does something like that happen, Carlos?
I'm not really sure how often it happens, but it does happen. It does happen.
And is it typical for marshals to put somebody like that who's on drugs to put
we have marshals in the air, yes. And I think they are for our protection. And how often it happens, I'm not real sure. But then I had a situation flying to Hawaii, and it was bad because this girl, 13-year-old, not molested, but was complaining to a relative that was sitting in 4 rows apart that she was being bothered by the guy sitting next to her.
Mm.
And then what was the problem? The guy sitting next to the 13-year-old girl asked her, are you, or do you have intentions to put implants when you get older?
Oh my.
So she told her uncle, and her uncle went to beat him up
In the middle of the flight to Hawaii.
to Hawaii. And then from Newark to Hawaii, you know, those are a few hours, right? The crew was excellent. The crew handled it very well. And but they understood the uncle's frustration, right? And they handled over, they changed seats, and then what happened at the end, he was probably addressed by the police. And then that was the situation that the crew, I'm proud of that crew because they did take care of it. And then I'm glad they changed the girl's seat assignment, because how would you keep the girl sitting next to this guy?
You know, and in my
And wait a minute. And the
Yeah.
other passengers acted like you did.
Yes. And in my situation, when the kid got off when the kid got off, they arrested him. They arrested the kid. Yeah.
Oh,
So
I had a grandmother being arrested too. Grandma got arrested. Going through security, they called the police. They didn't tell her what it was, but you know, TSA will detect. At that time, I believe marijuana was not legal. She had marijuana, not much, but in her carry-on. And they kept on asking, is this your carry-on? Is this your carry-on? Is this your carry-on? Then grandma said, okay, it is my carry. It's not my carry-on. My son let me use his carry-on. Oh, because then they told her what it was. And I'm not sure if she got arrested. Now I'm looking back. I think yes, they did contact the son. And I'm not really sure she got arrested. I think she did. I think she was like maybe 82, 84.
is that right? How about when people try to sneak on heavy bags on the plane?
Oh, I had one too. I had a friend of mine, a co-worker. She's a heavy set. Okay. And when she told, we have a box to measure the size of a carry-on, and she told the passenger, I don't think your bag's not is going to make it because it's too big. And they said, do you think you can let it fit in the carry-on? You know what he said to her? It will, maybe if you sit on it, meaning like your pepper, like big, you sit on it, make it flat. That's the only way it will fit in the box. And then she said, she just grabbed the bag and said, get on board. It has to be checked. That was the end of the story. I mean, she did justice, right, to herself. But there are so many situations.
And you had a thing in the book about a rapper in first class.
Yes, I didn't like that because if I see somebody who you can not judge book by the cover, right? You don't know. Okay, these were rappers, black kids, and I'm colorblind. You know, if you're black, white, Chinese, I don't care. I'm not a racist. I'm not prejudiced. I discriminate somebody who does not act as a human. If you don't give me the respect that I deserve, I don't like you. I don't care if you're black or white or whatever. Okay, make story short. Their rappers were in line in first class. This lady went straight to them and told them she was totally wrong. Excuse me, why are you here? You don't belong here. This is first class, because it was the line for first class. And the rapper said, well, you don't think we're in first class because we're black? We're all in first class. Then she did have to apologize. And there were other kids there that they knew them. So they started running like, you saw my drawing, right? They said, wait, I can't even remember. I put WTF rap group. I don't remember the name, but then I remember there were fans and they were asking for autographs and everything. So they were true rappers and they were all in first class. And well, the lady had to leave and apologize and just had to leave.
So
Okay.
tell us about some famous people that you've seen at the airport.
Britney Spears. When she was alive, this is a good story. Um, Celia Cruz. I don't know, you have you heard about Celia Cruz, salsa singer?
No,
She's
tell
very
us about her.
famous. She's very famous. And she used to remember me. She did not remember my name, but she used to call me El Peruano because she knew I was from Peru. And one time, oh, El Peruano, it's like she would come to me. And at that time, I have my brother, my youngest brother, was going through depression. And I I told her, Celia, do me a big favor. Is it possible for you to send your picture with an autograph to my brother in Peru just to lift him up? And she told me, I'm going to cut my veins. Like if within a week, your brother does not receive a picture with an autograph from me. And she FedExed me in New Jersey and my brother Fico in Peru, and we both got the picture, and it was autographed by Celia Cruz, which is a legend in the
Wow.
Hispanic culture. And I felt real good.
It's great to hear a nice story about a celebrity. Any other celebrity stories that come to mind?
Not much because Dr. Kerry, I don't watch TV that much. So my friends are amazed. Like sometimes they would come like also singers, Los Juanes, also Hispanics, and I would say, who were they? And I didn't know about them. And they would tell me I'm not really familiar with them. But then some of the Kennedys, I believe, uh, the one who crashed in an airplane,
How about
maybe.
athletes? Any athletes? Do you know athletes?
Not really. No, I'm sorry. I can't help you.
Yeah,
I can tell you
you're
about my
from
book.
Peru. You're from Peru, so I mean, in the United States, we love our athletes. And how
Oh
about
yes.
uh,
Oh, when there was the Olympics, of course I will go and I will get her autographs, especially those tall girls. Like when they come, like either for basketball or representing the U.S. I mean, I'm excited to see them, and I always like, oh my God, like may I have a picture or selfie with you, and that's very exciting.
so somebody typed in that John F. Kennedy Jr. would always come through Newark, and I was. Have you ever saw him when he came through?
I think so. Yes. Mhm.
Yeah. And how about with the wanding? When the wanding people.
Oh, I told you, Dr. Kerry, I told you, I've been mooned twice in Newark.
Mooned.
Mooned, like basically pull down their pants and show me they're behind. It has happened to me twice.
Twice.
And then I don't know if you can see this.
Yes, I can
Okay.
see.
Especially after September 11th, it was mandatory to WAN passengers.
Uh-huh.
This lady said, I'm not going to do it. I said, it's mandatory. You have to if you want to get on the plane. And she says to me, what is it you want to see? This? She pulled down her pants and her panties. There
Oh,
were adults with children covering the kids' faces.
oh,
Let's get out of here. So I'm not making this up. I mean, you can't make this up. It happened.
it-
There was another guy missing a connection. We went on the car to try to get him, but sometimes if the tower does not give you the extra time, the hold for any passengers, you have to close on time. And we told the passenger there is a possibility, unfortunately, there is a possibility that you might miss the flight. When we got to the gate, it was pushed off.
ooh.
He cursed, he pulled down his pants. He was a 71-year-old man. Maybe had a couple of drinks, I don't know, but it's on my book.
Carlos, if people want to get your book, how could they do it?
Well, the best way, first, I didn't want to go through Amazon, maybe not yet, because this is a personal accomplishment. I was not looking for money. I just wanted to show what I have experienced. But because of the demand, like 1,000 copies went like sold out almost in 4 weeks, then I need to publish more books, Airport Stories 2, and I also need a second edition of Airport Stories. So they can contact me. They can, as of now, I have my information. I don't know if you can see or you can share it.
Up a little higher. There we go. Yep, just leave it there. So, and if you could read that off, because you can't see it too good. If
Okay.
you could read it off.
They need to, I'll make publish my phone number. It's 908-875-7862. And they can send me a text message, and they can send me through the text message, I can respond. I know who am I speaking with and get an address, because Dr. Kerry, they have 5 accounts already on my name collecting money for this book. Fake accounts.
Oh, fake accounts. Oh boy. Okay. So, so contact Carlos directly. Now, I want to get into some inside baseball stuff at the airport. We talked about marshals before. How often is there a marshal on a plane? That people...
I'm not really sure, but their presence is high.
And
and sometimes because of security, we cannot release that information, right?
Sure.
And about changing seats either, so we don't touch that. It's very...
And typically the flight attendants know who the marshals are?
Yes.
So they do. They know who they are.
The crew needs to know. Yes.
So the crew knows. Yes. And how much control do they have over how quick the flight is? Like I told the story before where my flight was, usually it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. They've done it in 3 hours. They did it in 1 hour and 45 when that kid was on the plane that was having the issue. How do they decide how fast a plane could go and if they could get you there a little quicker?
It all depends. I mean, the tower controls things, right? But every airline tries to be on time, punctual, because we get, I wouldn't say penalized, but there is a problem. It's not good for us to be late. Every airline, every carrier tries to be on time. It's kind of our reputation, and it is. And I believe everybody, it's all about teamwork. The tower, supervisors, gate agents, people who work in the kitchen, everybody is all about getting together and get the work done on time. That is, if you're, let me tell you, your attendance needs to be good. If not, you will get fired.
And does the hub, like in Newark, it's United, and I believe in Atlanta, it's Delta. Do the hubs get priority for their planes to take off on time versus some of the small carriers?
It might be, but I'm not in the position to say that. I cannot answer that question now. But then, yeah, some people are under the impression, like, for example, oh, you only had 8 passengers, that's why you canceled. And that's not true. There are other reasons sometimes. Sometimes it's weather. There's air traffic control, so we can't control the weather. And then they restrict the number of flights. Sometimes everything is based on safety.
And you told a little story in your book about a pregnant woman sitting in the exit.
Oh yeah, she got offended. We were in a rush. I didn't want to have my flight delay. The girl comes to me and said, I said, why didn't you close the door? At that time, because I believe the policy has changed. I believe now you can be pregnant and be in the exit row. At that time, it wasn't. So I said to her, what's the problem? I said, she's pregnant. And I said, okay, so what's the problem? Can you please tell her to change? Okay, I have no problem. I just rushed and went to her and said, I'm sorry, miss. You're pregnant. You cannot sit in the exit row. I'll get another seat. I will get another seat for you. She was mad as hell. She said to me, I'm not pregnant. I need to talk to your supervisor. Okay, I do apologize. We need to close. I left. What was I going to say? I'm sorry.
What happened when the supervisor came by?
No, there was no time. We just closed the door.
Oh,
When
you
he-
you left her
I
there.
mean, yeah, she could have written a common card or something. I never heard about her. But then there were situations, yes, that we couldn't close the door because the guy sitting in the middle was taking space from the other two guys on the left and on the right. I remember a flight to Puerto Rico, and then he was we needed to accommodate the passenger on a different flight. And he said, okay. He did apologize. He said, it's my fault. I know I shouldn't have bought only one seat. But I do not appreciate everybody here on the plane is calling me gordo, which is gordo in Spanish, is fat boy. He didn't speak English, but he understood gordo for him means fat boy. I said, I'm sorry, I do apologize, but I will need to accommodate you. And well, I have another, luckily there was another flight. So I had to do it.
So so a lot of the
I mean, this is not discrimination. I mean, the person in the aisle and the person in the window, right? Sitting at the window. So window and aisle, they were not comfortable. They were telling me, Carlos, I pay for one seat, not half a seat. They were upset. And the heavy boy understood, and he was very nice with me, and he understood. Not that he just told me, just tell him to stop calling me Gordon. Okay, I said okay.
What happens when people are sitting in the back, they don't have the extra room, and people recline their seat right in the lap of somebody and they start arguing? Have you had that happen?
I have people arguing like that, yes, but not really bad, no. But it does happen. I mean, some people are always happy. Some people are always complaining. They have the best. They complain of everything. Yes, and what's our story?
And there's you had some,
okay, good. Oh, I told you about the vibrator, right?
Tell us about that. You didn't tell. I read it, but tell the audience about crazy things in those bags.
I was about to close the flight. Then the ramp agent shows up and said, I'm sorry, Carlos, because you can't close. Why can't I close the door? There is a bag that is shaken. It is Mrs. Jones. Okay, call her. So I called the girl, the lady. She came up to the front of the aircraft door and she told me, I can't talk to you. I need to talk to a woman. I said, there's no time. You need to talk to me. It's a security issue. Then she was embarrassed. She covered her face and she said, oh my God, yes, it's my vibrator.
Oh my.
And this happens very often.
It does happen often.
Yes. In baggage claim, everywhere, at the gate. Because when I shared my story, more than a couple of friends told me, oh, that happened to me too. That's so typical. Oh, yes, it does happen.
And does that happen when they're going through security?
It should be allowed to get through, but then not to have it on and active, right? Vibrating. But then I said to my friend, take this as an educational experience. Remove the batteries when you take it.
Oh my goodness, that is a crazy story. So as we're finishing up, we got about a minute and 20 seconds. Do you have one last quick story for us?
Me?
One last quick story. Do you have a quick story?
Yes, I can tell you one. Oh, this one here.
Uh-huh.
You remember reading that one?
I do.
Okay. So the passenger rushes to check in and she's going to the Bahamas.
Uh-huh.
So he got a driver's license from New Jersey and he wanted to fly to the Bahamas. So my coworker told him, you need a passport. He said, don't be ridiculous. I'm only going to an island. I said, okay, you're only going to an island that is not in the United States of America. So you do need a passport.
So we're going to cut it off right there. We got about 30 seconds left. Carlos, I want to thank you for joining me today. People that want to buy your book, how can they do it? Show us your book. Show us how they could buy it. They want to buy it. Tell us how to do it. Tell us the phone number.
My phone number is 908-875-7862. They need to send me a text or a WhatsApp message.
This is Dr. Kerry Gill for Open Your Eyes Radio on AM 1280 The Patriot. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Carlos.
Your eyes and your vision are under attack. Damaging blue light from the sun, your phone, your computer, your tablet, even light bulbs and car headlights is constantly bombarding you. The good news is our eyes actually already have a line of defense to counter the effects of blue light. This defense is made up of 3 pigments called carotenoids. MacuHealth with Micromicelle, the only supplement with the exclusive patent on all 3 macular carotenoids and Micromicelle technology.
Fitting multifocal contact lenses presents a big opportunity to meet patient needs while growing your practice. Alcon is your partner not only with our innovative portfolio, but through e-learning. Learn to enhance your multifocal strategy today with the Alcon Experience Academy.